Okay, so we just created a shape tween, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this document open. I'm going to come down to my layer, and I'm going to double click on layer 1, and I'm going to call this shape. I'm going to give it a name, just like we did in Fireworks. I'm going to lock this layer and hit this eye tool right here and hide it. And I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to rename this layer Motion, or Classic actually, Classic, just like that. What we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a classic tween. It's a classic animation tween, and to do this we're going to have to step away from using a shape and create an object that we convert into what's called a graphic symbol. And to do this I'm going to use the type tool. I'm going to select on my stage and just type in the word move me. Pretty simple. And I'm going to come over to my properties with this type selected. And what I want to do, it's really little right now, is size it up. I need to zoom in here so I can actually highlight the text a little bit. Because I have 10-point font, that's a little tiny. I want to make it big so we can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to size it up. Again, we have all the type options here available to us. There we go, that's bigger. It'll be easier to see. Okay. Now, whenever you work with type or an image that you bring in, yes, you can bring in your own photographs if you like to, you have to do something called convert to symbol. Just like we did in Fireworks when we were making our buttons. You convert to symbol and it makes it a graphic object that you can animate. So what we're going to do is select our object like so, this text, come up here to modify. In the drop down menu, select convert to symbol. Again, F8 is the shortcut key. And then I have this little pop-up menu. I'm going to call this move me text. It's very important to name these symbols so you can reference them later in your library. The type, I'm going to make a graphic for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now what's happened is this is no longer text I can edit. It's a graphic symbol that I can animate. If I want to edit this text, I can simply double click on the object, just like when we worked with our buttons and Fireworks. And if you look up here to the submenu, it shows I went from scene 1 into a graphic. Here's the icon for a graphic called Move Me Text. And I can come in here and I can change the color of my text if I want to, or change the font size, or change it to whatever I want to. Make sure, by the way, you're working with static text. Input text and dynamic text we will not be getting into. They're more advanced features in Flash. So static text is what you want to be working with. When you're done editing the text you want to work with, you can simply click here on scene 1 and go back to our main timeline where we can create our animation. Okay, so to create an animation, we need what? 2 keyframes. So by default, I have my first keyframe set. I'm going to come down here to frame 30, go up to Insert, Timeline. In the flyout menu, select Keyframe. I'm going to move my object to a different place. So it's different on this keyframe than it is on this keyframe. I am going to select between the 2 keyframes. I'm going to come up to Insert, Classic Tween. And there you have it. And now you can see the difference between these animations. I'm going to play it so you can see it animate. A motion tween has a purplish light blue color with an arrow suggesting motion. A shape tween has a green color with an arrow suggesting motion. Another way to tell the difference between the two. So we have a shape and a classic tween. Now the cool thing about classic tween is there's more options we have available with these than we do with shape tweens. For instance, if I come here to the beginning of my animation, hit the first keyframe, select the object, look at my properties panel. It's telling me I'm working with a graphic, but it has this cool thing called color effect. In the drop down menu, I can select the option called alpha, and I can set the alpha transparency of this text to be 0. So as it comes on the stage, it goes from 0% here up to 100% here. Let me hit play so you can see how that works. You see that? Okay, that's one option that we have that we can't do with the shape tween. The other option is if I were to select between the 2 keyframes, I can look over here at my properties panel and have a thing called ease in, ease out. If I were to set this up to 100 ease out and I animate this, the text goes from really fast and then slowly stops on the stage. You see that? It's going fast and then slows down. Again, the opposite, if you were to ease in, it's going to go slow at the beginning and speed up at the end. So again, some cool animation features. The other option we have, if I again select between my two keyframes of this graphic animation, is I have an auto rotation option here. I can click clockwise rotation, set the rotation to 1, and then as I animate this, I have this text fading on the stage and rotating on the stage as well. Again, those are all features not available to shape tweens. So again, graphics can be any object you want to animate. I could have drew a square on the stage, selected it, went to modify, convert to symbol, and made it a graphic. And I could have animated the square on the stage and made it rotate, much like I did with this text. It could be any object you bring into Flash that you convert to a graphic. So again, if you want to have advanced features where you want to have things fade on the stage, have ease in, ease out, or even make things rotate, always convert to a graphic symbol. And next what we'll be doing is be working with another form of animation that's new to CS4 called the motion editor. So that's what we'll be doing next.